things have dried up for the most part, but we have some more rain on the way. Not today, but tomorrow. I'm going to tell you about that in just a few seconds. This morning, gray skies, and we could see some flurry activity this morning anywhere south of Hamilton, south to the areas of the Niagara Falls region. I'm going to show you that just right now. So first off, here's a look at what happens at around 11:30 to the noon hour. You can see a system that's going to travel to the south of us. That's where it could bring in some snowfall even into Fort Erie, but keeps us fairly cloudy. It doesn't really move its way up. But as we get later in the afternoon, we'll start to break out of that cloud cover. This evening, we'll see partly cloudy skies. A daytime high today is going to be about +1. Tomorrow, at around 9:30, we could see some scattered showers that work their way in, but as well, there's some pockets of freezing rain that we could see, and we're going to have to keep a very close eye on this. It will be short-lived as the temperatures rise significantly tomorrow, so we'll get into that rainfall, and it'll last till tomorrow afternoon, and then we'll dry up again. But more rain in store for your weekend as well. Current conditions right now, -3. Factor in wind chill. You got a wind chill of about -8. As I mentioned, +1 is your daytime high today. -3 through the overnight. Look at that temperature. 11 degrees tomorrow. And then we'll be at 10 through the overnight. On Saturday, just cloud cover. But on Sunday, another round of rain in the morning. A daytime high of 10. Temperatures will fall as we get later in the afternoon, but still continuing warm. We got 5 degrees Monday and Tuesday. Then we take a look at Wednesday. A little mixing as we get into the evening, and a daytime high of 6. Dry roads today, some better conditions, no fog as well. Over to you.
All right, good stuff. Well, right now, MTO is looking for a problem on the Toronto-bound QEW, just on the downside of the Burlington Skyway. We do have a report of a collision, so they're just trying to find it on the cameras right now, but you can see that backup already developing as you approach the Burlington Skyway, so be aware of that. We'll definitely be keeping an eye on that issue, but the rest of the drive isn't too bad. Westbound 401 up towards the top of your screen. Those are typical delays building from Morningside over towards Kennedy, Express and Collectors. Keep this in mind, though, as well. Northbound Trafalgar, the ramp to the westbound 401, that remains closed. Crews have to do some repairs to a pothole on that ramp, and MTO tells me it is not expected to open at all today. So at least tomorrow until that ramp reopens. That's Look at Your Drive. I'll send it back to you, Mel.
Well, it's news that we did not want to hear. The search for a young boy swept away by the Grand River yesterday, now officially a recovery effort. Our Tammy Sutherland is live this morning beside the Grand River, just west of Orangeville, with the very latest on this heartbreaking development. Tammy.
Melanie, it is devastating news. Police saying that the likelihood of the 3-year-old surviving in this water overnight is so low. They have switched this over now to a recovery mission from a rescue effort. It's the Grand River here along 10th line. This is where the van that the boy was traveling in was caught up in the flood waters here very early yesterday morning. Now, that van was driven by his mother. Apparently, the van went around, according to police, went around a roadblock here on 10th line and then got caught up in the water. The mother was able to grab the 3-year-old from the van and get out, but unfortunately her grasp on the little boy had loosened and he was swept into the water. Now, police say they have recovered the van itself a few kilometers down the road from where it went into the water. That has now been pulled out of the water as well here, and you can see here right now on 10th line itself, the water actually has receded quite a bit. It was actually covering the road here, and now it's back down over the bank itself. Police will be back here again at first light. It is getting light right now, so it's likely in the next half an hour or so that the search team and the OPP helicopter will be back out to continue the search now for the little boy's body. Very devastating story in the meantime, of though neighbors have already started a small memorial here, a candle that's been burning throughout the night, and a tiny sign as well on these flowers saying, "Rest in peace, baby boy." Once we hear, of course, from the OPP when they arrive here on scene, again, we'll bring that to you live. Melanie, I'll send it back to you for now.
All right, Tammy, thank you so much for that. And we continue to follow the developments with the Grand River. Meanwhile, Brantford residents remaining under a state of emergency until at least noon today. A mandatory evacuation yesterday after heavy rain and ice jams in the Grand River causing widespread flooding. Premier Kathleen Wynne traveled to Brantford last night. She praised first responders and city officials and assured residents that everything possible is being done to help. Meanwhile, better news in Mississauga as residents returning to their homes after a flood warning downgraded to a flood watch. Ice and debris jam along the Credit River, causing some localized flooding in the area of Old Dairy Road and Second Line. Crews were assisting with sandbags here and helping residents to evacuate. Several homes in the area reported flooding in their yards, in their basements. Up to 2 feet of water reported in some homes. Residents, of course, still being reminded to stay away from the waterways. All right, in breaking news, just in Canada, capturing silver in the 1,000-meter short track. Kim Boutin already won a bronze in the 1,500-meter and the women's 500. So this is her third medal of the Games. Quebec's Samuel Girard finished out of medals in the men's 500-meter short track. Canadians still have a shot at 3 other short track medals and 1 in the women's relay biathlon this morning. So Canada is up 1-0 also now in the third end of the men's curling semifinal against the U.S. A lot of things to watch for you, but again, another silver that we have here. Of course, we continue to follow more breaking news. This morning, Toronto Fire confirming a fatality in the basement fire. This is in Etobicoke.
Unfortunately, the female that was rescued by firefighters did succumb to her injuries at the hospital.
The woman who died, believed to be in her 20s. This fire erupting around 2:30 this morning in a basement bedroom at a home on Byng Avenue. This is near Albion and Islington. There were 3 people in that lower unit. Another man in his 30s taken to hospital with minor injuries. A third man was able to escape. The 4 people on the upper floor made it out on their own. They were okay. The cause will now be investigated by the fire marshal. Okay, let's get back to some Olympic action now. Canada's women's hockey team's gold medal streak is now over. The U.S. scooping the gold in a shootout today, snapping their 20-year gold drought. 3-2 was the final here, and again, we'll continue to watch all of the Olympic action as mentioned just a few minutes ago. We'll let you know should anything change and if we make the podium. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's trip to India facing another controversy over taxpayers' money being spent to fly a celebrity chef to India. Now, this is a photo that Trudeau posted on Twitter back in 2015 when he was the leader of the Federal Liberal Party. He met Vancouver-based chef Vikram Vij, who threw his support behind Trudeau. Now, the Canadian government has paid for his flight and accommodation in India so that he can cook for a group of top diplomats. Trudeau has been traveling in India to boost Canadian business with the country. The government statement says it is accepted practice to invite chefs to showcase Canadian food products and cuisine.